There's an old saying that people always prefer something new over something old. I never paid much attention to it until Leo transferred to our school. Not long after he arrived, someone saw Maya, my childhood friend, who had always been fearless and rebellious, in an empty stairwell with him. The person who saw them said she was acting like a completely different person, meekly confessing some mistake to him. It was hard to believe. Later on, I got into some kind of argument with Leo, though I can barely remember what it was about. All I remember is what came after. Maya just casually told someone, "I don't want to see Alex at school anymore." My parents, whose business relied heavily on their partnership with Maya's family, the Harpers, didn't even ask for my side of the story. They transferred me to a different school immediately. After that, it was like I simply vanished from her world. I was too afraid and too humiliated to even try to show my face around her again. But then, months later, on her birthday, she appeared at my apartment door. It was pouring rain, and she was completely drenched, looking both pitiful and deeply troubled. "Did you forget it's my birthday today?" she asked. I used to laugh at that saying, the one about the new always beating the old. But I wasn't laughing when I sat in the school auditorium, weeks before everything fell apart. I watched Maya staring at Leo as he played the piano on stage. Her eyes were full of an undisguised affection that I had never seen her show anyone. In that moment, I believed the saying was true. I also believed all the rumors I had been trying to ignore, the ones about Maya, usually so fearless, bending to Leo's will in that stairwell. The deep affection I had for her, the feelings I never got the chance to confess, stayed hidden away in my heart, where I knew they would probably remain forever. When Leo finished playing, I clapped along with everyone else for the shining, talented boy on the stage. Maya immediately got up, most likely heading backstage to find him, and I decided to leave the auditorium too. Outside, I stood in the courtyard and held up a small, gourd-shaped wooden carving that was hanging from my bag. "Alex, this is for you," she had said. I asked her, puzzled, what it was. 7-year-old Maya had just watched some soap opera with her aunt and had learned about something called a love token. She gave the carving to me and said, "This means Alex can only like me from now on. I'll always protect Alex." Tears pricked my eyes just thinking about it. I took the carving down from my bag and held it tightly in my hand, knowing that a kid's words don't really mean much. But they had meant everything to me. Maya, the fearless little tyrant of our neighborhood, had been the secret joy of my entire youth. Leo transferred in during the fall semester. He was good-looking and a special talent in piano, which caused a big stir right from the start. The other boys, in my class, joked that Leo was like the main character from a school romance novel, clean-cut and destined to be admired by the school troublemaker. A lot of girls started chasing after Leo. They even teased him, saying the only thing he needed to complete the picture was a girl like Maya. I remember Maya just lazily stretching at her desk when she heard that, shooting a bored glance at the person who said it. "Is he even worthy?" she'd scoffed. Back then, she was so cool. I didn't believe the rumors that Maya and Leo were together because I hadn't seen it for myself or heard it from her directly. But now, seeing her look at him in the auditorium, I knew. It was time for me to be smart about this and start keeping my distance from Maya. We used to walk home from school together every single day, but at some point, Maya started finding excuses not to go with me anymore. She could have just told me the truth. I wouldn't have pursued her relentlessly or made a scene. After all, we were never officially together, no matter what I felt. On Sundays, when we came back to school for the evening study hall, there was always a paper collection. Maya has always been a rebel at heart. When the class monitor went to her desk to ask for her paper, she just said, "Didn't do it." Before all this, Maya usually listened to me. Everyone in the class knew it. So they would always come complaining to me if she didn't do her homework or caused trouble. But now, they couldn't even find her. She would leave right after the last bell rang, presumably to find Leo. The class monitor came to me, looking stressed. "Alex, Maya didn't do her homework again, and nobody knows where she went. Can you—" I cut him off, shaking my head. "Just turn in what you have to the teacher. Don't tell me if she doesn't do her homework." At my words, he and the others just nodded. It probably seemed to them that the rumors about her having a boyfriend were true, and my new cold attitude just confirmed it for them. After class, I focused entirely on my exam paper. Before Leo showed up, I had this plan for Maya and me to both take the entrance exam for Preston University together. Now, I just had to work even harder to get into Preston by myself and start chasing my own dream. Maya didn't come back for the entire first period of evening study. The teacher asked where she was. Everyone instinctively looked at me, but I didn't lift my head from my work. In the second period, Maya finally returned. She sat down quietly and didn't say anything, even when someone told her the teacher wanted to see her in the office. When she walked past my desk, she paused for just a moment. I didn't look up. I was wrestling with a tough math problem, one of those where I could usually solve the first part, but my brain would freeze on the second. After I finally figured it out, my deskmate, Sam, leaned in cautiously. He asked what was going on between Maya and me. "Nothing, really," I said. "Really? But you used to freak out if she didn't do her homework or skipped evening study," he pressed. Staring at him, I replied, "That was then. From now on, I'm not going to worry about her." He was surprised and covered his mouth. "So, is it true that Leo is Maya's boyfriend?" I kept silent, my eyes downcast. After the second evening study bell rang, Maya finally walked back into the class. A few minutes later, I got a note passed to me. It just said, "You head out first after class." Seeing it, I calmly put the note away and went back to my paper. After class, the room got crowded and loud as everyone packed up. As I was zipping my bag, the room suddenly fell silent. My deskmate Sam gasped, and I followed his gaze. Leo was standing at the classroom door. He tilted his head towards Maya, motioning for her to come over, and then he left. My eyes betrayed me, glancing over at Maya. She smiled, a little helplessly, and then followed him out. The class erupted in chatter. Turned out it was true. I used to think Maya and I made a good pair, a classic rule breaker with a good student. But now, it seemed like a perfect match between the rule breaker and the piano prodigy was what everyone preferred. "Don't be a lapdog," someone said. But doesn't it seem a bit sad for Alex? They grew up together since they were kids. Looks like childhood friends can't compete with new romances. My seatmate tried to comfort me with a tight-lipped smile. I slung my backpack over my shoulder. My heart felt like it was being torn apart, but I forced myself to smile and made sure not to let a single tear fall. I couldn't let anyone see how heartbroken I was, or else by tomorrow I'd be the talk of the entire school. "I'm fine. Maya and I have always been just friends. I'm heading out. See you tomorrow." He still looked a bit worried, but waved and said, "See you tomorrow. Take care on your way home." As I walked away from the noisy campus, I gripped my backpack straps tightly, clenching my teeth. But the tears just wouldn't stop. My heart felt so heavy, and it hurt terribly. How did she suddenly start liking someone else? My vision blurred, but I could still hear that girl's almost arrogant voice ringing in my ears from years ago. I'm unstoppable. Alex is someone I'll look after for life. Alex, why didn't you wait for me this morning? The next morning, Maya was late for class. After the bell, she came over to my desk, looking a bit upset, and placed a bottle of milk on my desk. I paused momentarily from memorizing vocabulary, glancing sideways at the milk. I already had breakfast, and from now on, I won't be walking to school with you. I arrive early anyway. Maya, who had pulled up a chair to sit next to me, seemed confused about what I was doing. She propped her head on her hand, watching me. I didn't annoy you recently, did I? We always used to walk together, right? Things are different now. I put down my pen, took a deep breath, and forced a smile. You have a boyfriend now. We should keep our distance. She looked startled for a moment, then reacted. He doesn't mind. He knows about us. I mind, I said to her, word by word. I don't want to be the reason for any problems in your relationship. Alex. Maya actually has a bad temper and not much patience. Talking like this with me had probably worn thin whatever she had, so now her face turned cold, and she suddenly stood up. The screeching sound of the chair against the floor cut through the quiet room. Whatever, she threw down, as I lowered my head and silently closed my eyes. Last night, I had sat on my balcony all night, lost in thought. It was time to stop being a fool, to stop continuing to hide my feelings for her while staying by her side. Or maybe the bond we've had since childhood should just end here. They say the eyes of someone in love can't hide their feelings. If I kept tailing her, it wouldn't be fair to me, or to Leo. No boyfriend would like his girlfriend having an overly close male friend. Since then, Maya hasn't talked to me first. Even when we passed in the hallway, she just walked right past me. The guy following her around wasn't me anymore. It was Leo. She introduced Leo to everyone in her circle. Leo was her first love, a guy she really, really liked. I focused quietly on my studies, listening to everyone else talking about their love story. Leo apparently had stomach pains in the middle of the night from practicing piano too much, so the next day she brought a specially prepared, low-fat dinner from her family's nutritionist. A sports guy from the neighboring school apparently really liked Leo and blocked him in an alley after school a few days ago. Word was, Maya beat the guy up pretty badly. This time, I was back to being the top student in my year. A teacher once told me not to worry so much about Maya. It wouldn't do my studies any good. Maya's family was wealthy, so grades weren't much of a concern for her. After school, I watched the grand sunset from the window. Alex, which college are you thinking about? One hot afternoon, Maya had casually asked while sitting next to me. Without hesitation, I said, Preston University. That's far. I never told her that I wanted to go to Preston University, not just because it's a top school, but because I wanted to get away from here, away from my home. Then I'll apply to Preston University too, she'd said. Without me, you'd be a mess. That boastful girl in front of me was my light in those broken times, and I tried desperately to hold on to that light. So I was willing to waste all my time on her, even if I couldn't make it to Preston University. As long as we ended up at the same school, it'd be fine. Then rumors started spreading about Leo being a third wheel. After using the bathroom, my seatmate Sam and I walked back, only to see Leo with red eyes, crying as he rushed past us. Maya came rushing over, grabbed me by the neck, and practically wanted to kill me. Alex, didn't you say you wanted to stay far away from me? What's this now? Her grip made it hard to breathe. Sam tried to push Maya away quickly. Are you crazy? Alex and I just got back from the bathroom. Let him go, he can't breathe. Maya swiftly let go, and I gasped for air, collapsing helplessly. Alex, you disgust me. Alex, are you okay? I squatted on the floor, coughing, tears falling uncontrollably. Sam held me and gently patted my back to comfort me. Alex is all right. Maya and her boyfriend must be having some weird moment. Wiping my tears, I tried hard not to sob aloud. The Maya just now, looking at me like she wanted to kill me, was a complete stranger. The girl from my memories was gone, completely gone. Later, classmates cautiously passed me their phones from under the table. It turned out someone had anonymously posted on the school's open forum, accusing Leo of being a homewrecker in my relationship with Maya. Many people believed it, and the comments were full of nasty things about Leo. The marks on my neck had turned red, and I thought, once school ends tonight, I'll post a clarification on the forum right away. But before I could, I got home and found my parents sitting on the couch with stern faces, clearly waiting for me. I had a feeling something bad was about to happen, and then a glass was thrown at my feet, shattering on impact. "What did you do at school to upset Maya?" Dad slammed the table, his eyes almost popping out of his head. "Do you realize our company's growth depends on our collaboration with the Harpers? Are you trying to ruin me?" I stood there, listening to Mom viciously calling me useless. Dad insisted I apologize to Maya. The coldness of the large villa made me shiver all over. I don't remember exactly how that showdown ended, or how I ended up being forced to apologize to Maya. I wanted to explain that the post wasn't mine, and that I would clear things up. But when the door to her house opened, she looked down at me with an icy, piercing gaze. I couldn't say a word. I just lowered my head, bent over, and apologized. She gave me a dismissive glance, leaning against the doorframe. "I don't want to see you at school again, Alex." My parents nodded, groveling, promising not to let me appear before her again. I mechanically looked up at her, but the bright white porch light made it hard to see her expression, or even her face. At that moment, my dignity was crushed into the dirt. That's when I realized Maya and I never belonged to the same world. We were never equals. The moon doesn't descend just because people wish it to. When it reflects in the well, it's just an illusion. Her kindness towards me before was nothing more than a fleeting whim of a young, wealthy girl. I shouldn't have fantasized about it. From the start, it was a mistake. That night, I packed my things while my parents arranged for my transfer. 2 weeks after transferring to Lincoln High, I rented a small place close to the new school. Afraid Maya would get mad if she saw me again, they decided it was best I didn't go back home. Even though we were in the same city, seeing each other would take special effort. "Alex, come watch my game today." The girl speaking wore a black and white sports outfit, her fox-like eyes full of mirth. When I first arrived at Lincoln, a guy in my class told me about her. Chloe, famous for being beautiful, wild, and cool. Classmates acted absorbed in their own things, though I noticed their glances. I lost track of how many times Chloe had approached me by now. They said she had never pursued anyone before, and now she'd been pursuing me for quite a while. At this age, we all imagine a school love story happening to us, or to those around us. They called Chloe a reformed wild girl, but even a reformed wild girl has a past. I shook my head gently. I can't. I have homework." She glanced at the workbook on my desk and raised an eyebrow. "Alex, did you know? I've been chasing you for 2 weeks." "So?" She chuckled lightly. "So why do you keep rejecting me?" By then, most of the class had left, and the sunset was casting its orange glow through the windows. I remembered a saying, "The evening breeze is free, the sunset is free, and I am unique." "Alex, you know there's something contradictory about you," she said. The referee's whistle from the field outside split the evening glow, and I looked at her. She smirked. A sense of death and some inexplicable intensity. So I'm intrigued by you. I gave her a cold glance, reminding her, the game's starting. She found no interest in my coldness and walked away with a tisk. After she was gone, I looked up at the silent clock on the wall. I had a hunch who posted that article on the forum, but what would he gain from it? Lincoln High was different from my old school. They cut the classroom power at a fixed time, so by 6:30 the power was out, leaving only the sunset's faint light. I packed my books, slung my backpack over my shoulder, and headed downstairs. The gentle evening breeze scattered the blossoms of the Chinese flowering crabapple tree. The petals fluttered away in the wind. I stood there, blinking. Reflecting on my brief teenage years, life felt as helpless as those flower petals. "Is that Alex?" A voice snapped me back to reality, just as I intended to move on. I was stopped by two familiar faces, looking surprised to see me here. I knew them from hanging around Maya. We had gotten along pretty well. They each held a bottle of water, probably fresh from the vending machine. "You really transferred here, Alex?" I glanced at them, unsure of what their "really" implied, and just nodded. One of the short-haired girls nudged the other and said, "Alex, you and Maya grew up together. She's here too. Maybe you two can clear up the misunderstandings." Everyone else, it seemed, believed I wouldn't do such a thing, but Maya, whom I grew up with, was convinced it was me. Before I could finish that thought, Maya intervened from a distance. "Does it take that long to buy water, or are you going to keep talking to people who don't matter?" She stood at a distance, glaring at me like I was a stranger. Hearing her, the two girls awkwardly gave me a glance. I smiled softly. "I'll get going. See you." "Okay. Goodbye." Life at Lincoln High was quiet. Time moved slowly. Occasionally, I would overthink things, questioning why nobody loved me. I was excellent. My name was always on the honor roll. Dad used to say that kids with good grades are the ones everyone likes. But as I grew up, I learned that even though teachers liked smart kids, they weren't like my dad. I studied in silence, waiting for exams, waiting for the college entrance exams, no longer waiting for anyone. My grades soared, and I ranked first in the recent inter-school exams. Standing on the podium, the warm summer wind lifted my hair and billowed my uniform. Below, students clad in their blue and white uniforms stared up with envy and admiration. The principal was at the mic, using all the big words he could think of to describe me, without holding back. Outside, the vines on the trees kept climbing, the cicadas got louder, and the sunset grew redder. In the senior hallway, the sound of studying intensified. Everyone wished they could hit the pause button on time, slow it down as much as possible. I hadn't seen Maya anymore, and it seemed like I'd lost touch with my old friends. Those friends were, essentially, Maya's friends. After summer break started, I didn't go back home because it was close to Maya's house. Ever since I started at Lincoln High, my parents mostly just told me, "Don't let Maya see you. If you run into her, go the other way." I was 17 this year, and next semester I'd be a senior. My parents hadn't thought about whether I'd be anxious about senior year. They didn't care much. People walked past me on the path, but nobody seemed to stop for anyone. This afternoon, I left the library and my phone rang. When I answered, there was silence on the other end. I frowned, checking the unmarked number. Hesitantly, I said, "Hey, hello?" Still silence. Without hesitation, I hung up. "Alex." Chloe came out of the gym, waving at me. She ran over and asked, "Want to grab some food?" I was holding my books, glanced at her, and then at the people behind her, hurriedly urging each other to move faster. I told her, "I'm going to take food home. You and your friends go ahead." You keep eating takeout, that's so unhealthy. Let's go have a proper meal. With that, Chloe dragged me along. She brought me to a French restaurant where everyone wore formal suits and dresses, even the servers. Looking at us, me in a loose white t-shirt and blue denim shorts, and her in red and white workout gear, we stood out. I quickly stopped her. Are you sure? We're gonna go in like this? She blinked, confused. It's just a place to eat, right? Her straightforward comment suddenly made sense. Before I could decide, the server came over, looking at our outfits, and smiled. Is it a table for two? Yeah, Chloe nodded. All right, please follow me. The server led us. He took us straight to a window seat, and then asked us, Would you like to enjoy the view outside? Chloe nodded towards me. I checked the time. It was just after 6, maybe there'd be a sunset. I nodded slightly. She smiled and said, Sure. Then she pressed something, and warm yellow light suddenly streamed in through the tinted window. My mouth dropped open a bit, amazed at how magical it was. Realizing I'd noticed, I saw the server was no longer beside us. She handed me the menu. What do you want to eat? The menu was pricey, and I hesitated. But Chloe smiled and asked, Afraid you'll bankrupt me? Half her face was bathed in light. The golden glow hit her, and her eyes sparkled. Honestly, I admitted, it all looks kinda expensive. Don't worry, I can handle this. Order whatever you want. I handed the menu back. You decide. I'm not picky. She took it and teased. Not bad, easy to feed. How do you like your steak? I don't like it too raw. She pondered. Too well done isn't good either. How about we go medium well? Sure. Looking at her, I suddenly thought of Maya again. I hadn't thought about her in a long while. But she, too, had a dimple when she smiled. She didn't smile often, mostly just a slight curve of the lips. I used to tap her dimple and tell her, Smile more. You look pretty when you do. Then Leo came along, and she smiled a lot more, sometimes sweetly and endearingly. Thinking back, there's a universal truth. She just didn't like smiling at me. Our meal started during the peak of the sunset and ended when it was dark outside. After leaving the restaurant, the plaza was crowded. Alex, I had a great time today. I looked up at her, and she looked down at me, smiling. Today's my birthday. What? I was shocked. It's your birthday? I should have treated you to dinner. Why didn't you tell me earlier? She feigned disappointment and sighed. I thought if I told you, you might not have eaten with me. No way, of course not. After a pause, I thought about buying her a birthday gift. Suddenly, warm breath brushed against my face as she leaned close, her voice raspy. Thinking of what to gift me? She'd dyed her hair bright blonde a few days ago and got a reprimand from the school for it. As the wind blew from all directions, her hair moved like a golden retriever's. I want that sachet you had last time. That time, she had come to find me while I was packing, and a sachet fell out of my bag. She picked it up, looked at it, and shook it, asking, Can I have it, Alex? I turned her down back then because it was meant as a birthday gift for Maya. Even though it would never reach Maya, giving it to Chloe didn't feel right. It felt like handing over something unwanted. I nodded heavily, agreeing. Okay, but you have to wait a few days. I'll make you a new one. On the way back to her place, Chloe asked me for the first time, Alex, where do you want to go to college? I looked up at the sparse stars in the sky. I'd love to go to Preston University. Why? Because I don't like it here. It doesn't snow here, and I want to see snow. Chloe bowed her head, thinking about who knows what, but just nodded. When we got to my place's entrance, she said, "Go on, goodbye." I walked a few steps, then looked back. She stood there in the shadows, in her tracksuit, a faint smile on her lips, her eyes dim. At that moment, my heart trembled, and I waved to her. "Chloe, happy birthday!" She heard and raised her hand, smiling as she waved back. "Alex, you'll definitely get into Preston University." I always thought there was plenty of time with Chloe, but I wanted to finish the sachet quickly and give it to her in person. I wasn't sure if she liked the scent of mugwort, so I bought some other dried flowers too. I kept thinking about how Chloe would react when she saw it. When I got off the bus, I couldn't wait to rush over to the complex where Chloe lived. But when I got there, workers were moving stuff inside the place. I froze, and my heart just sank. I slowly walked over and softly asked the young woman standing there, "Hi, excuse me, do you know where the previous tenant went?" "Oh, she moved out. Seems like a few days ago." All right. I nodded blankly and turned away. I sat on a bench, and it took me a while to process that Chloe had left. Why'd she leave without saying a word? Weren't we friends? My eyes got misty. The gift bag in my hand felt heavy, like it weighed a ton. Why is it that just when I get used to someone being around, they leave, just like everyone else? I wiped my tears with a cold face, tossed the gift bag in the nearby trash can, and walked away. That night, it started pouring rain. I stared out the window with Chloe's contact pulled up on my phone, but I couldn't bring myself to hit call. If I called and she answered, what would I even say? Ask her why she left without a word? To her, maybe I was just a fleeting crush, not worth saying much to. I suddenly realized I was being played, a joke even, falling over and over again, never learning. A knock on the door snapped me out of it. I opened it to find Maya, soaking wet and looking utterly miserable. "Did you forget it's my birthday today?" she asked, with that sad look on her face. Hearing that, I wondered if the old Alex would have forgiven her. I didn't know. I just knew in that moment, I pathetically realized I felt nothing for her anymore. And then I remembered a saying. When this person stood before me, I felt nothing, neither love nor hate. Her eyes were red from crying. "Alex, today is my birthday. You said you'd be with me every birthday. I'm exhausted. Happy birthday. Okay? Alex, are you still mad at me?" She suddenly grabbed my hand and slapped it across her face. I frowned as my hand started to sting from the impact. She tried to use my hand to hit the other side, and I gritted my teeth, pulling my hand away. "If you're gonna go crazy, do it at your own place." "Not here," I said coldly. Maya's fair skin had a deep red mark from the slap. I didn't care if she was hurt. I just feared the trouble it might bring me. Her mouth opened slightly, rain dripping down as she spoke with a bitter voice. "Alex, I know I messed up. At that time, I didn't know why I acted that way. By the time I wanted to make it right, you had already transferred schools. I went to find you at your new school, but I saw a girl talking to you by the window. I got really mad. Those weren't the words I meant to say." "Forget it," I sighed, a wave of helplessness washing over me. Maya stared at me, eyes wide and expression pale. I chuckled softly. "With your skills, Maya, it wouldn't be hard to find out who spread those rumors. You could have guessed who it was. We grew up together. You should have known I'm not the type to do something so low." Maya hung her head in pain. "You didn't really believe it wasn't me. You just chose to believe it was me. Leo wanted everyone to know he was your boyfriend, and he wanted a clean break between us. His slander and antics, which you allowed, made that clear." I looked at her with indifference. From the very start, you made your choice. So what now? Why come to me? I'm sorry, Alex. She reached out, trying to hold on to me. I stepped back. I made a mistake. I just don't know why I did what I did back then. After you left, I realized I couldn't be without you. I miss you so much. Every day you're not around, I'm thinking of you. I went to your school, waited for you outside, but I couldn't see you anywhere. Tears streamed down Maya's face as she continued to apologize. I lowered my head, closing my eyes. The girl who had walked with me through so many stages of life was now unrecognizable. The Maya I knew wouldn't have treated me like this. She was no longer the girl who'd cover me with her coat in the rain, telling me she was there for me. That girl was lost to time, gone and unreachable. "Maya!" Leo called out from a distance, his voice breaking. But she didn't even turn around. Suddenly he burst into tears, pleading with me. "Alex, Maya's all I have. Don't take her away from me, okay? Please!" His fingers were long from playing piano, and his face was pale and clean. Even when crying, he looked pitiable. "Shut up," Maya snarled. "I told you we're over. Go!" "What did I do wrong? Just tell me, please. I really like you. I don't want us to end." I didn't want to watch this love triangle drama unfold. I shut the door, not wanting to know, and definitely not wanting to get involved. September came, and I was now a senior. My homeroom teacher was right. Nothing was more important than the college entrance exams now. I was focused on getting into Preston University. Later, Sam sent me some gossip about Maya and Leo. Apparently, Leo's piano competition wins weren't legitimate, and he had even bribed judges for his art exams. Every student who went through art exams put in so much effort, cried countless times, yet kept training. They were drenched in sweat, but pushed on. Seeing things like this, anyone would be angry. There are just too many people fighting for too little. In the end, it got posted online, and Leo gained a bit of internet fame because of his pretty face. As things snowballed, his achievements were stripped, and you could say he lost everything. With nothing left, he kept clinging to Maya. Maya was overwhelmed by the chaos, so her parents transferred her to another school to get away from Leo. The gossip online went from shipping them hard to expressing regrets over the whole thing. I saw it as a joke and just focused on my studies. The countdown on the wall seemed to get thinner with each page torn off. Each classmate wished they could stretch time, as there were topics still unfamiliar and things yet to memorize, with next month's exams looming. Often, I stood on the 10th floor corridor and saw Maya standing silently outside the school, leaving quietly after a while. As the loud buzz of cicadas started to fade and disappear, the college entrance exams arrived in June. It rained heavily that day, and I remember the math exam being really tough. By the 5th multiple-choice question, my heart sank. My palms and forehead were sweating profusely. Leaving the test hall, I felt defeated. The staircase was filled with complaints about the hard math test. Many students broke down crying. The math was too hard. I'm doomed. But time doesn't stop for complaints, and exams won't suddenly become easier. The last subject was biology. I carefully checked my answers to make sure nothing was missed. I capped my pen and looked at the green outside as the classroom fell silent. With a prompt marking the final 5 minutes, my high school days and my youth were about to end. I left the exam hall and the school building, looked back at the school I attended for just a year and a half, and felt a lot of emotions. I waved goodbye to my teenage years with a smile. Nobody stays 18 forever, but there will always be someone who is 18. After the exams, I didn't go back home. Instead, I went with Sam to Q City to get a summer job. There, I got phone calls every few days, which I just ignored. The lost aren't lost because a hand wasn't held, but because they're blinded by a lure. Results day came, and my results were blocked. When I received the text from the Provincial Education Department, I couldn't hold back my tears. I was the provincial top scorer with 713 points, validating the 3 years of hard work and every step I took. Suddenly, those parents sought me out, basking in the media's glow, bragging about how they raised such a top student. Sam, infuriated, said, "They've got no shame. Did they ever care for you?" I simply looked off into the distance. When the media found me, I kept a faint smile while revealing that I had a cheating mom, a biased dad, and a broken home, and that I was determined and resilient. In today's fast-spreading internet era, my interview garnered both sympathy and respect for my strong heart. I decided to change my SIM card, relying on the full scholarship and various awards, which was more than enough for 4 years of college expenses. The day after classes started, the military training ceremony was held, and my dorm mates and I rushed to the field. There were so many people, and we couldn't find our class spot, leaving me scratching my head in a daze. Suddenly, I heard a clear, familiar, female voice behind me. "Hey, fellow student." I froze for a moment. When I turned around, I saw a familiar face from my memories. Standing against the light, she slightly lowered her head and said, "Long time no see." After the break, I dragged my dorm mates to the cafeteria. That evening, Chloe stopped me in the dorm building and asked my dorm mates if she could borrow me for a second. I didn't want to deal with her and tried to follow them upstairs. She grabbed my hand. "Even if it's a death sentence, I deserve a chance to explain, right?" While maintaining a stern face, I stepped aside. "I'm sorry for leaving without saying goodbye," she softly explained. "My family is actually in P City. After a huge fallout with them, I moved to study in M City. The reason I left in a hurry was because my grandma fell seriously ill. She was the only one good to me. It might sound a bit dramatic, but after returning to P City, my phone got stolen. I was busy taking care of her, and by the time I got a new SIM, you had blocked me. I later returned to M City, but by then it was senior year. I was afraid I'd disturb you, so I stayed away. I haven't lied to you. I swear, every word is true." As the guys from the dorm returned and saw a girl talking to me, they couldn't help but glance over, but quickly looked away when I caught their eyes. I stared at the shadow on the ground, filled with mixed emotions. Finally, I just nodded. "Okay, I get it." I wasn't sure how I should feel. Angry? It seemed too late for that. Happy? Not really. I just wanted to escape. "If there's nothing else, I'll be going." The moment I was about to leave, Chloe suddenly hugged me, her voice muffled. "I like you, Alex. It's not like some wild girl return scenario. I'm not like that. I've never had a boyfriend. A guy tried to pursue me for a long time, but I didn't agree. The rumors about me changing boyfriends like clothes were all lies he made up." The heat from her hand on my waist was burning up, and in a daze I heard her say, "Will you be my boyfriend?" That day, I didn't answer. I just ran away. After our military training ended, Chloe was in the computer science department on the East Campus, and I was in the law department on the West Campus. She's good looking. Since the semester started, her face has been all over the bulletin board. Later on, someone couldn't resist posting on the board, "To everyone who's confessed to Chloe from computer science, stop posting. See? I'm from the law department too, and I take a class with her boyfriend. They're always together, super sweet. Just drop it, okay? The picture showed me sitting by the window with a straight face, while Chloe looked like she'd done something wrong, nervously watching me. It was really just me telling her not to accompany me to class anymore. Maya had also applied to a school here in P-City, but her scores weren't enough. On Christmas Day, I got to the gate and realized I left my phone in the dorm. After grabbing it, I saw Maya at the gate. When she saw me, her eyes lit up. "Alex, I finally found you." Seeing it was her, I frowned and tried to walk away. She was wearing the down jacket and scarf I gave her back then, still unwilling to give up. "Alex, it's Christmas. Let's have dinner together." Isn't it common courtesy to ask someone's girlfriend when you're inviting their boyfriend to dinner? Chloe walked over, looking annoyed, standing between me and Maya. Maya clenched her fists tightly, her face pale. "Alex, is what she said true?" "It's true. I have a girlfriend now. Stop coming to find me." She shook her head, looking obsessed, then turned to me, her eyes red. "How could you have a girlfriend? You said you'd marry me when we were kids." "I lost you, Alex." Chloe coldly walked over and grabbed her collar. "Yeah, thanks for your lack of insight. Now stay away." Maya seemed to go limp as Chloe tossed her to the ground. Then Chloe pulled me along, walking past her. "Alex, I'm sorry." The Sterling family business always depended on the Harpers. Not long after Maya went back, her parents came to find me in P-City. They wanted me to be with Maya. I couldn't believe it. What kind of parents could say something so heartless? With tears in my eyes, I yelled at them, "If you didn't love me, why did you bring me into this world?" My dad poked my head, screaming, "If that quack hadn't said you'd bring luck to the family, do you think you'd be here?" Suddenly my ears rang, and I kept backing away. They were like beasts, ready to tear me apart. That's when Chloe rushed over, covering my ears. "Don't listen to their nonsense." In the end, the Sterling family went bankrupt. Maya waited for me to beg her, but that's the last thing I wanted. She didn't know I sent her a bigger gift. Leo had been looking for Maya for years. That day, Maya told me her hotel room number, and I passed it to Charles. Let those once-in-love lovers rekindle their past. Leo had a devoted admirer who had funded him over the years. Later, that woman found Maya and stabbed her, leaving her with severe injuries and a damaged spleen. Leo ended up in a vegetative state after being attacked by the admirer. It was all over the local and online news. I said I'd move toward a bright future, while they stayed, stuck in the mud. "Alex, didn't you promise to make me a sachet? It's been so long." Chloe kept pestering me for a sachet. After that incident, I didn't want to make one, yet she kept asking. This time, I reluctantly took out a charm-shaped sachet from my bag and handed it to her. "Here." Chloe was as happy as a child with candy once she got the sachet. Years later, I wrote my final words in my book. My wife, her presence was my life's salvation. Chloe's epilogue. I once read a line in a book. Calling someone's full name is like whispering a love note. But Alex didn't seem to get it, and that's okay. One day, I stumbled upon a dropped sachet of his and realized a sachet is meant for a loved one. I wanted one, but he never gave me one. Eventually, he agreed to embroider one for me. Boy, was I overjoyed. But it's like the universe played a joke on me, and I missed it again. At least when I look at him sleeping soundly beside me, I can't help but steal a kiss. This time, I didn't miss out.